The strong start to the season continues for us here. The Seattle Seahawks ended up coming in at number 3 on the week for defenses. They were one of our streamers, and that makes it back-to-back weeks where we gave out a defense that was 25% owned or less that finished third on the week. Again, this is pending Monday Night Football. The Rams also came in at number 7, which makes it two of our defenses in back-to-back weeks have finished inside the top 8 on the week that were streamer 25% owned or less. The Dallas Cowboys were a disappointment for us. They ended up coming in at 22 in a good spot, but they just ended up being a letdown. We're going to be looking ahead at week number 3 right here on the Face Off Sports Network. What's going on, guys? Pete Nova here. And before we kick it off, just so you know, we're going to give out 3 streamers, 25% owned or less. Then we're going to give out our rankings at the end of the video. And we're also going to do a deep dive into those rankings as well. These videos are recorded earlier on in the week. So make sure if you have questions, you send them in later on in the week too, to check back in case the rankings have changed. I do post the rankings in the community post here on YouTube sometimes. They're always up on Twitter. They're always up in our free Discord as well. Let's go ahead and move on to our first defense that we are streaming, and it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. I have gotten questions about this defense a lot so far, and yes, by popular request, it has been made. The Atlanta Falcons are my number 1 defense to stream this week. They're 1.1% rostered across fantasy formats, and that's in 12 teams or more per sleepers data. They should be almost available in every single league though. And this is an away team, a 43.5 point total. I don't love that they're away right now, but I do like the total. They're also minus 2.5 point favorites on the road, and they're taking on the Carolina Panthers, whose offense has just really not been good, guys. Bryce Young and that offense have struggled. No Adam Thielen, of course. No Jalen Coker. Tet McMillan has been phenomenal, but they're struggling to score points, right? This Carolina offense, you'll see him here. They're 24th in offensive EPA. Pretty rough. They're in the bottom third of the league so far. And this is also an offense that has not led at a single point in time so far through the first 2 weeks of the season. EPA is back, right? The beginning of the year for the first 2 weeks, we didn't really have enough of a sample size, but now we're moving into week 3. We have a little bit more of a sample size, a little bit more data. And right now, this Carolina Panthers offense has looked really bad. When we look a little bit more deeper into that Carolina offense, they are number 1 in total pressures allowed, 13th in pressure percentage, though, right? So they're not in the top 10 for quarterback pressure percentage, but they are number 1 in pressures allowed because that offense is really bad as well. And the offense just tends to be on the field a lot. And so it's giving us more opportunities for that defense that's opposing them to get home or to rattle Bryce Young. Bryce Young is averaging 2 sacks per game, which is not that bad, given how much pressure, how many times he's been pressured so far in the season. But I like the Atlanta Falcons in this matchup, right? You look at it, the Atlanta Falcons, number 1 in total defensive EPA, right? That's very surprising. The Falcons deserve their flowers, right? They made the trade for James Pierce Jr. A lot of people were very, very surprised by the draft capital that they gave up, right, to go get him. They also added Jalen Walker, right? They added Xavier Watts. They added Billy Bowman Jr. And all of these guys are making significant contributions to their defense so far, right? If you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, you have to be ecstatic right now that Raheem Morris has some toys to work with on this defense. You have Bates, you have AJ Terrell on the back end, right? It's a very solid spot to be in so far for this defense. It's very, very encouraging. And when you look at the defense so far and what they've done this season, number 2 in NFL total defense, number 4 in scoring defense, number 2 in passing defense, number 5 in sacks, tied for number 1 in takeaways. And they last year had the 31st ranked per game on a sacks basis last game. So they were not good last year at all. This is a very good floor, and it's a solid ceiling. I really, really like the Falcons this week. I'm giving them their flowers. They deserve it, right? It's a good matchup. And honestly, this is a defense, if they can keep it up, could be a team that you end up holding. If you don't want to stream, which I would never tell people not to do, but this could be a defense that you don't mind keeping because that's a pretty bad division when it comes to some of these offenses. So I like the Falcons this week. They're my number one defense to own. Moving on to number two. And number two is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, who, ended up coming through for us this week. Seattle versus the Saints, 23.7% owned across fantasy formats, a home team with a low point total. So we get home team, low point total, and a bad offensive EPA. We get all three of the things that we are looking for. I almost want to put them ahead of the Atlanta Falcons, but I actually worry that the Saints have more playmakers than the Carolina Panthers do, which is kind of what is having me have them ranked here at number two. But it could go both ways, right? I love that they're home, love the point total, love the EPA. And when we look at this matchup, right, the Saints offense, EPA wise, 27th in the NFL, right? So the offense with Spencer Rattler has struggled, which is to be expected. I actually think Spencer Rattler's looked okay, but ultimately, it's still an offense that's going to have its issues, right? Trevor Penning was out in week two. Maybe he plays week number three. I'm not sure, but when you look at it, the Saints allowed are 23rd when it comes to quarterback pressure allowed, at 32%, right? And you might sit there and say, okay, so they're not giving up a lot of pressure. Why would we want to start Seattle against them? But in week two, they allowed 38.5%, right? They played a much more formidable pass rush in the 49ers compared to Arizona in week one. And so they were able to put more pressure on Spencer Rattler in this game. And ultimately, I think they're going to have to play from behind very likely. And because of that, it's going to force them to have to throw the football. It's a very, very good pass rush with the Seattle defense. Seattle's defense right now in EPA, number 10 in the NFL, right? So a good start for their defense. Also, 49.4% QB pressure percentage, right? One of the best in the NFL so far for Seattle's defense. I expect Seattle's defense at home to cause them issues, right? You look at this defense and it's one ran by Mike McDonald, who has done a good job so far, right? Retooling, getting them ready to go. It's a hostile environment, and quarterback pressure percentage, they're actually number one in the NFL. Number one in the NFL are the Seattle Seahawks. They're also a very good run defense so far, eighth in NFL rush EPA. So Alvin Kamara, going up against a very strong run defense may force Spencer Rattler to throw the football even more, plus likely playing from behind. I think they're going to have to throw the football. Again, hostile environment on the road with a young quarterback in Spencer Rattler, right, who hasn't made many road starts in his career, in one of the hardest environments in the NFL against the seasoned coordinator in Mike McDonald. I really, really like this play this week. Moving on to our third defense to stream. It's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New York Jets. 14.8% rostered across fantasy formats. We get a low total, 44.5%, 44.5 points. And anything under 45 points to me is a low total, right? Totals are usually lower to start the year in the NFL. 44.5 is the total. We get a home team, and they're favored by 6.5 points against the New York Jets. This is a very good spot for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Justin Fields could be out in this game. He's in concussion protocol right now. And the Jets offense has been pretty rough. I mean, they had the good game in week one. It's only been 2 weeks, but right now they're bottom third in the NFL in EPA at 21st, which just goes to show you they were really good in week one and how bad they were in week number two. Overall, this Bucks, at least Bucks in week one, we haven't seen this defense just yet, of course, because this is being recorded on Monday. But the Bucks defense, sixth in quarterback pressure percentage, 43.5%, a very good start to the year. That was against an Atlanta Falcons offense, though, that was banged up. So that's important to note, of course. But Bucks defense is since last season, the Bucks run defense number 1 in the NFL since last season to now when it comes to run defense EPA. So, what does that mean? It means that Brees Hall could be in for a very, very tough day. Tyrod Taylor, who was banged up in the preseason, right, with a knee injury, right, missed some time, is going to have to throw the football. And that is one area where you can beat the Bucks is throwing the football. So maybe the Jets surprise us in that regard. But when you also look at this offense, they had some trouble, right? 47.5% pressure percentage is now the highest in the NFL, which is what the Jets gave up or giving up on the season. And that was after a good start to the season in week 1. Just goes to show the issues that they had in week 2. Membao struggled against Joey Bosa, their right tackle. And ultimately, I think the Bucks are set up really nice in this game, right? They're going to have to pass against the Bucks, and Jets offense is banged up. They gave up 40 the Bills gave up 40 points in week number 1, right? And the Jets offense was only able to muster 10 total points against the Bills, who are banged up. They did not have Ed Oliver, right? Jets offensive success rate was second lowest this past week since the start of 2024. That's how bad they were against the Bills and against that defense that looked really bad in week 1. They looked really good against the Jets in week number 2. Tyrod Taylor ultimately could be an upgrade for this offense, ultimately, right, from a passing perspective, but he doesn't have the dynamic with his legs, which might make this team one-dimensional if they have to throw the football because this run defense is really good. So we'll see how it shakes out, but that's my favorite 3 defenses to stream. I'll go over it again. The Falcons at number 1, the Seattle Seahawks at number 2, and the Bucks at number 3. Let's go ahead and move on to my rankings now. To start off our rankings here for defense, we have the Packers here at the number 1 spot. And the Packers have made back-to-back weeks 2 offenses we expect to be top 5, top 10, right? In the Commanders and the Lions look average at best, right? And ultimately, maybe even worse than average, right? Jaden Daniels had one of his worst games as a pro. And ultimately the Lions looked absolutely terrible, right? But we saw what the Lions just did as a bounce back. But Green Bay Packers right now, 34.8% pressure rate on the quarterback position, 37.4% pressure rate allowed by the Cleveland Browns in this matchup. I like them here at number 1. Number 2, Minnesota Vikings. No Joe Burrow in this matchup. We have Jake Browning. Jake Browning threw a ton of turnovers in that game against the Jaguars. A lot of good fantasy assets in this one, but ultimately, I expect, this team in the Vikings to apply a ton of pressure and get home at the quarterback. And so I have them here at number 2. Buffalo Bills, big bounce back week for them, right? Defense looked absolutely terrible against the Ravens in week 1. We saw them bounce back in week number 2. And to be expected, right? The Ravens are going to make pretty much most defenses, even the elite ones, look bad. We saw it with Denver last year. We saw the Lions were solid last year too. They had a tough game too. Buffalo Bills though, going against Miami in this one, we get a home team, so we like that as well. And the Miami did bounce back last week, but I expect Buffalo to be good in this matchup. Then you have the Kansas City Chiefs here at number 4. Kansas City takes on the New York Giants, and we did see a resurgence for Russell Wilson and the New York Giants. This is not the Dallas Cowboys defense, though. I expect them to be good in this matchup here. I like this Chiefs defense here, right? If one thing's for sure, the offense might be sputtering right now, but the Chiefs defense is still one of the best here, and that's why I have them here at number 4 to close out this tier. In tier number 2, we have the Atlanta Falcons. We talked about the Atlanta Falcons in the streamers. Don't want to spend too much time here, but they go on the road against the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, a sputtering offense right now, and this Atlanta defense flying around, forcing turnovers, getting sacks, getting to the quarterback. I like them here at number 5. Seattle Seahawks here at number 6, another one of our streamers. I like Seattle at home versus a young Desmond Ridder, right, against the Saints. They have talent on this offense, the Saints do, but Seattle Mike McDonald, in a ruckus environment, one of the hardest places to play. Desmond Ritter's going to have a tough day, in my opinion. I'll take Seattle here at number 6. That pass rushers look phenomenal. At number 7, we have the Houston Texans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville's offense, kind of up and down, right? We've seen them score points, but it just feels like they're kind of trying to get their groove right now. This is a good Texans defense, right, that I think can get to the quarterback, right? And ultimately, play these offensive playmakers well. The secondary is good. They're going on the road to Jacksonville in this one. I like the Texans here at number 7. Then we have the San Francisco 49ers here at number 8, right? San Francisco takes on the Arizona Cardinals, but they are at home. You're going to notice a lot of the teams that are in the top 12 are home teams this week. I like I like the San Francisco 49ers. Their defenses looked good to start the season. Arizona, I'm still not big believers in that offense right now. They can make mistakes. They can be had. So I like the 49ers here against Arizona at number 8. Number 9, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another one of our streamers, taking on the New York Jets, right? No Justin Fields, I think, in this one. He's going through concussion protocol. Even if Justin Fields is in there, I'm not overly concerned. This is a Tampa Bay defense that's really good at stopping the run, right? It's going to take this team to throw the football against the Bucs. And yeah, you know what? If there's one thing the Bucs can do for a bad offense, it's get them out of their slump when it comes to passing the football. But I'm going to bank on them having a nice game here. They've been able to get to the quarterback. They generate pressure so far this year. So I like them here at number 9. Denver Broncos here at number 10, right? A down game for the Broncos, right? I mean, to say the least, against the Colts. They're going to be playing the Los Angeles Chargers away. Los Angeles Chargers have some issues on that offensive line, right? And so I expect Denver's defense to get home on this offensive line. The passing attack and the through the air is still going to be, it's going to be a nice battle between Ladd McConkey and some of these pass catchers. Denver's defense, hopefully Dre Greenlaw is back in this one. I'm expecting him to be back to help clog up some holes against the run. Moving on to tier number 3, we have the Philadelphia Eagles here at the top of this tier at 11, taking on the Los Angeles Rams. They are at home in this matchup. We have seen some pretty high scoring games in these matchups with the Eagles and the Rams as of late. I like the Eagles in just from a talent perspective. This is going to be a tricky game, though. I'm not going to lie. I have some concerns about the Eagles even having them this high at 11. I think the Los Angeles Rams offense has looked really good. Matt Stafford is playing at a very high level through 2 weeks of football. They are at home, though, and I have them here just because of the talent, but I might drop them down. It wouldn't surprise me. It's hard because they're so talented to drop them much farther, but that's where I'm kind of at with them. Start with caution. Los Angeles Chargers here against the Denver Broncos at 12. Denver's not giving up much pressure. They're number 32 in the league right now in terms of pressure rate to given allowed to the quarterback position, under 20%. But Chargers defense is very, very good. Bo Nix is liable to make some mistakes. They're going on the road into LA, and so the Chargers are at home in this matchup. So I like the Chargers here. Good defense here at number 12. Divisional games are usually kind of weird. Sometimes they play each other tough. Number 13, the Arizona Cardinals. And Cardinals are taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Their defense, look, they had a defensive touchdown last week. I think ultimately that salvaged their day. I still think they are frauds. If they did not get that touchdown, they would not have had as big of a finish as they did, but I can't take it away. They did get the touchdown, right? So I can't take that away from them. I'm not a huge believer in that defense just yet. Pittsburgh Steelers, another defense that might be on fraud watch. 14 right here. And the Steelers are going on the road to New England. New England's offense has looked good. I mean, week 1, they were solid in some spots, and then I think the game plan just got away from them in the second half. Week 2, Drake May looked phenomenal against the Miami Dolphins, though that defense is not that good. I think the Steelers here at 14 is fair. I think they're going to give us a solid floor. That that pass rush is going to get to Drake May and give us some sacks, I may be moving up the Steelers in my rankings here. I could see them going up as high as 11 where the Eagles are as the week progresses when injury reports come out. Let's see what happens, but I have them here at number 14. Number 15, the Cincinnati Bengals. Trey Hendrickson is here on the screen, and the Bengals are going on the road to Minnesota, right? Is it going to be Carson Wentz? Who is going to be quarterbacks? This is going to be the battle of the backup quarterbacks in this game. It is not a high point total, which if you came into the season and looked at what these, looked at this matchup, you'd be pegging this as a high scoring game because Cincinnati's defense is not very good. But Cincinnati's defense played good week one against the Browns, right? They had a tough game against the Jags last week, but they did get some turnovers in that game against Trevor Lawrence. And so I have them here at 15 against Carson Wentz. We'll see if that old man still has anything left in him. Moving on to tier 4. We have the Indianapolis Colts here at 16. Look, Indianapolis Colts are going on the road. This defense looked terrible against Bo Nix. They looked good against Miami, but that run defense is a little concerning. And I think Tony Pollard can definitely make hay on the ground. I'm thinking that maybe this could be a trap spot. I could see the Colts losing this game to the Titans. They are traveling on the road here. They have a lot of injuries in that secondary. I think maybe it's a good floor game if you want to play it safe because it's a rookie quarterback. But I think Cam Ward could have a really nice day against that secondary. Washington Commanders here at number 17. They take on the Las Vegas Raiders, and Washington Commanders defense has been pretty good this year. Dan Quinn has them looking solid. Obviously that Packers game wasn't what they wanted, but ultimately defense looks solid, and Washington Commanders going up against the Raiders at home in this one. So I like them here at 17. Dallas Cowboys, talk about frauds. I mean, here at number 18, they absolutely stunk last week. They blew it for us. They take on Caleb Williams on the road. Maybe this is a bounce back spot for Caleb Williams and that, Bears offense. But Dallas here, maybe Caleb Williams can take some sacks and turn the football over to salvage the day. But I expect that game to be high scoring, very, very possible. And I don't love that they're going on the road in that one. Baltimore Ravens versus the Detroit Lions. It's hard to put the Ravens much higher here against a really, really good offense in the Lions. They are at home, right? So I do have them here at 19 inside my top 20. Not a ton to say there. I don't want to have to start them if I can avoid that. New England Patriots against the Pittsburgh Steelers. New England Patriots, their special teams, scored a touchdown and salvaged that day for them against the Miami Dolphins. They take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they can get home against Aaron Rodgers, they can maybe have a pretty solid day here with a good floor. Chicago Bears against the Dallas Cowboys. Don't love starting really any of these teams that you see here. Los Angeles Rams, honestly, might just be a team that you start here at 23 because 22 over some of these teams, just because you say, you know what, good defense. They're going up against the Eagles here, but I'll take my chances. Maybe you just take a shot because starting the Bears, starting the Patriots, some of these defenses, I just don't really want to have to start. You have the Chicago Bears here at 21 against Dak Prescott, and the Cowboys don't love that really either. I know I kind of jumped around there. And then 23 and 24, you have the Raiders, you have the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are interesting. Look, I slipped them in here at 24. They're going to go up against the they're going to go up against the Green Bay Packers, who, of course, have been awesome. But it's Myles Garrett. Browns defense played good in week one against the Bengals. Obviously, they played bad against the Ravens in week two, but I don't expect them to be bad. Most defenses are going to look bad against the Ravens. That's just how things go. I'm going to go over back here again. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4. That's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. Really, really appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you leave any comments because, again, these rankings are going to change as we get injury reports throughout the week. So leave comments under the video. I'll be happy to answer before game time on Sunday, and also come to our shows during the week. Live start sits. We'll also answer them there. Until next time.